Ole Miss is stealing Baylor starting quarterback right out from under their nose. Or are they?
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Bears fans. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Baylor, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the world. Breaking news, emergency edition with your host, Cam Stuart of ESPN Central Texas and the Rogue Media Sports Network. Because today, Baylor's starting quarterback in 2026, DJ Lagway, is not in Waco. He's not in Willis, Texas, his hometown. He's not getting his stuff from Gainesville. He is in Oxford, Mississippi. And we need to try to make sense of that. Why a guy who just committed in the transfer portal is visiting Ole Miss today. We're going to go over that, why Ole Miss is a pretty big threat in this situation, and possibly some good updates for the Bears on this front, maybe something to not worry so much about. But we start where we start. DJ Lagway, the great coup, the best transfer portal transfer the Baylor Bears have ever gotten. Well, today he's visiting Ole Miss. Per several reports, Chris Hummer, Matt Zenitz were the first one to have it out there. That is something worth monitoring, is what they originally said. They said that one team that has been in constant contact is Ole Miss. Continued to have dialogue is Ole Miss. And so what we're kind of hearing from some of the other camps is, yep, DJ's committed. He just wants to, take the visits, be thorough, this, that, and the other. Look, I saw this come across on Friday and thought, here we go. Like, how can you not think that as a Baylor fan? Here we go. We get something good to come our way, finally, and it's going to be ripped out right out from underneath us, because that's what college football does, especially in 2026. But I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to pretend like I know what it's like to be a transfer portal quarterback and all the attention that gives you. You know, imagine being the 10 out of 10 Instagram model. Like, that's the kind of attention you're getting in the portal. But I'm trying to understand how you can commit and then go through all the rest of this. And I was thinking about it last night. I was at a wedding. I was at one of my best friend's weddings. And I thought about comparing it. You know, I was there with my fiance. Best wedding date ever. But, you know, a lot of ladies at this wedding. Some that I've known for a long time. Some single. Some pretty good looking. And you know what? I didn't turn to my fiance and say, hey, I'm committed to you, but I'm going to go home with one of them tonight. See what it's like. But I'm committed to you. Don't worry. But that's what we've got right here with DJ Lagway. He's committed, apparently 100% committed, and now he's going to look at other schools. SEC schools who are desperate for a quarterback. Yeah, this comes hours after Trinidad Chambliss, their starter, gets his 6th-year waiver denied. Like, how much of a coincidence is that? Hours later, the guy who was one of the best quarterbacks on the transfer market, who played in the SEC, is suddenly up for grabs, and the next day, DJ Lagway is in Oxford visiting Ole Miss. This feels really bad. And again, it goes back to, like, what is this in college football? What is the portal? What is a player being committed? Because to go back to last night, my fiance was asking me about this when I had to be on my phone during a wedding to see if DJ Lagway was going to decommit from Baylor all of a sudden a day later. And she was like, so he committed, but he's not coming? Is any of this real? I was like, no, college football is not real. It's not a real thing. You know, the portal is whatever. Anybody can go into the portal. NIL, it's whatever. You can get anything. It doesn't even have to be real. LSU is offering guarantees of $3.5 million before it even goes through CSC Clearinghouse. Nothing is real, bro. The portal isn't real. NIL isn't real. Commitments are not real. None of this is real. Nothing is real until you see them on the field in week 1. Until then, it is all fake. It is all fugazi. It is all up for interpretation. And that is what we've got here. And it's true. Like, DJ never signed anything. And maybe that's shame on me and some of the other people who got ahead of themselves, because maybe that's what we should just be looking for. We shouldn't even react to commitments. We should be reacting to signing a contract to come and play here. And, credit to the people who have been following it throughout the whole thing. Hummer and Zenit's here. David Smoke from 365 was out there reporting from the first minute, like, yeah, it's a commitment, but there's no signing. And now we're talking about how he's visiting other schools because there's no signing. And I would be lying through my teeth if I told you I wasn't worried about this situation. Ole Miss is a program hotter than fish grease right now. America kind of rallied around them a little bit after the Lane Kiffin deal. They just went to the Final Four. It's been a program that's been on the rise for years now, since we saw them in New Orleans back a couple years ago when Baylor beat them in the Sugar Bowl. Right behind me if you're watching on YouTube. Like, this has been a program on the rise. And yeah, they don't have Lane Kiffin, but they certainly got one heck of a pull. And if Kiffin was still their coach, I would have already written this off. He's gone. He's done. He's going to Ole Miss. But I mean, that is a program that, again, is coming off a Final Four run in the CFP, last SEC team standing. They have got plenty of money. They're actually a school smaller than Baylor, but you see a playoff run like that, there's going to be plenty of money committed to that. And they're a team that could likely double his whatever he's going to get at Baylor, like at the drop of a hat. Man, we know how many KFC Pizza Huts Sean Tui owns, since we all watched The Blind Side. He can throw some money DJ Lagway's way, and you get the prestige of playing in the SEC, which historically is about all that Ole Miss was good for. The prestige of playing in the SEC, but now they're actually winning in the SEC. They're making the college football playoff. They're making runs, and they need a quarterback. You look at some of the other guys that are still in the portal. Dylan Raiola, as a name that's been thrown out there, I guess at this point more by parody accounts than by real accounts. But Raiola is a weird one. We don't know exactly like who he's linked to, what the deal is there. The other one that Ole Miss is looking at, which might help Baylor fans breathe a little bit easier, is Deuce Knight, the legend of Deuce Knight, the backup at Auburn last year. And I'm sure you guys remember when we did the Auburn game build-up, man, there was all this talk about Deuce Knight. Y'all can keep Walker White. We got Deuce Knight. He's the next one. Incredible athlete, dual threat guy. And hasn't played a ton, so people still truly believe in that. That's someone that Ole Miss has shown real interest in. The Raiola stuff is smoke, but they've shown real interest in Deuce Knight. And from all reports that I was reading yesterday and today, the Ole Miss people like Deuce Knight quite a lot. Not to say they don't like DJ Lagway, but they do like Deuce Knight quite a bit. And the latest, as we're recording this on Saturday morning, is that there's been no Ole Miss commitment, just an Ole Miss visit today. And there are reports out there that have basically tried to downplay the whole thing. DJ's doing this as a respect thing. He's going to continue to do his visits because he said he would do his visits. Again, don't remember that happening ever after someone committed through the portal or like any of that. Even in high school, if you committed in the spring, you might not go for another visit in the summer. And it just doesn't happen 2 days after you commit somewhere. It doesn't happen. The other thing that we're hearing is that it's more or less a formality. That's a word we've been hearing. DJ is committed to Baylor, wants to come to Baylor. But look, y'all, he's in Oxford right now. Like, that can't help us sleep easy here. I mean, it's big enough that I'm sick and hungover and doing one of these episodes. I mean, this is not good any way you slice it. You know, you're hoping and pleading and begging for him to come to a 5-7 team with a head coach who probably won't last through the year next year, with a fan base that is feeling apathy for their football program. And on the other side of it, he's going to an SEC school right now where they've had no problem selling out the last couple of years. They're coming off a Final Four appearance in the CFP. Like, it's not good. It's not good. So, anyway, he's still committed to Baylor right now. He's not a Baylor quarterback right now. In fact, the title will have to say Florida transfer quarterback. He's not Baylor's quarterback. But are you worried about Ole Miss coming in to steal the first good thing we've had in football the whole year? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop in every weekday and sometimes weekend mornings on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Leave a comment, leave a like. It's completely free, and it helps us build this channel, helps me keep my job, and let my boss know I'm continuing to work. So thank you for making it your first listen today and every day. We'll give you the updates as we get them. Who knows how many times we'll be behind the microphone this weekend as these updates come. Certainly Sunday will be a huge day as he lets that fester and marinate, and maybe Ole Miss coaches don't let him leave the campus without his signature. Who knows? Much more to come. Maybe some plane tracking. Who knows? We'll see you next time on Locked On Baylor.